Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today we're going to have a little bit of an exploration in who or what might be your main spirit guide at the moment. And I use the term at the moment advisedly. Some of you may be like me and feel you have a main spirit guide who's been with you your entire life and you expect to be with you your entire life. But others may have guides that come in and out, and all of us probably have more than one guide. It's just that one might be the main one at any given time. So we're really looking at the moment, but you will know whether you feel there's a very strong one that is always there. What I would say though is that if you choose a pile and you find an energy that doesn't align with that, doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. It just might be that your main guide has stepped aside because one of your other guides has something to say to you at the moment. So keep an open mind. This is meant to be kind of fun. We're going to sort of start with looking at the energy and a little bit of the message, which is part of the choice, but then the energy of your guide, like what their personality energy is like. We're going to actually draw from a number of different options for the type of guide it is. And then depending upon that, I have different oracles that can approximate who or what that might be within that particular type of guide. And then I'll choose the tarot deck that I think is right for that. So there's a little bit of switching around and changing depending upon what we get from this particular bowl in the early part of the reading. Once we've got that, we'll see a little bit more about your guide, what their message is for you, and why are they the main ones around you now, that kind of thing. Then like the gifts and advice they're bringing you. And we're going to finish up with what kind of a guide might you be in between lives, because I think we probably all are guides to others in between lives. So we're not going to sort of like go through the whole range of the types of guides here. I'm just going to use a kind of mythological creatures deck to get a sense of the type of energy or type of guide you might be. So a little bit of fun at the end there as well too. Now it is always possible we'll get some heavy messages. Who knows what your guide wants to talk about? But I am hoping that this is fun as well as informative. So let's see what happens. As I said, what I've done here is I've used the Rainbow Oracle to look at a bit about the message or the energy of the guide coming forward as the choice. And then we'll go from there. You can, of course, go to more than one reading. If you feel that you've got a number of guides and there might be different messages and they may be made for different aspects of your life, by all means do that. I would have to say that when I shuffled and asked Spirit for the kind of energy, I see quite a similarity in a way between pile 1 and pile 2. So some of you may get drawn to both those piles. I'm not trying to suggest it to you. It's just a possibility. But you, do whatever you feel is right. But to help with the choice, hopefully, for pile 1 we have new vision. Your view of the world is changing. Look beyond the illusion to see the most spectacular views. So this has got something to do with the message that the guide is wanting to bring you. For pile 2 we have explore. A soul adventure calls you. Explore the uncharted waters of your inner and outer world. And you can see how I feel like there's almost a little bit of a similarity there. But as I say, they could be quite different as well. And for pile 3, we have celebrate. The energy of excitement is in the air. Announcements, connections, and celebrations bring unity and joy. So this could be to celebrate you're achieving something. It could be to let you know a really great thing is coming in. The Wheel of Fortune is moving in your direction. We'll see. But hopefully that will help you choose. When you know what reading or readings you want to go for, the timestamps are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So as I said, you've come to the reading with new vision. This tells me that whoever or whatever your guide is, or the main guide at the moment, or the one that's speaking to you at the moment, their message to you is about expanding your horizons a bit and looking at a new vision, having probably a download, an inspiration, something like that. And so it's very interesting that I've got an astrology deck and also the Blue Dragonfly Oracle to kind of give me a little bit more of an idea about the nature of your guide before we draw and see the category that they might fall into. With the Blue Dragonfly, we've got the messenger, need to talk, speed, communication. This suggests to me your guide is very much like a muse energy for you, bringing inspiration, or they're wanting to connect you to someone who brings you information, a new vision, a new opportunity. So, and like that feels very mercurial to me. And it's interesting that one of the astrology cards is Mercury. You might actually have a guide that is connected in terms of like gods or goddesses to both astrology and to the god or goddess sort of pantheon, in terms of Mercury in Roman and Greek mythology. That's a possibility. I don't know what we're going to get as the category at the moment, but there's certainly a sense here that this is a guide that likes to bring you visions, ideas, inspiration, or connect you to people and communication to make that happen. They are very focused on the relationships in your life, that you create the life that you want in accordance with your values, so that there's a connection between what you value in life, believe in life spiritually and so forth, and what you achieve in life. But they want you to be creative. And it's interesting, we've got vocally creative here. So I feel this is a guide that works with creative or sort of like self-expressive people in some way. Now, this could be that you're an artist or a creator in some way, but it could also be that that something in your job, your vocation requires you to speak your truth, come up with new ideas. There's a kind of entrepreneurial feeling here, but the interesting thing about it is that this guide is about big ticket creative visions and ideas and inspirations around personal relationships in particular, because there's Pluto in the 7th house here. So this is the sort of sense around relationship energy. This is a transformational energy. A new way of looking at things could be bringing you a message about a new love or a transforming level in the relationship that you're in. But there's certainly something here about how the messages and how your creativity impact you in relationship and how relationship changes and transforms. But there's also, I think, something about your vocation. As I say, we've got Uranus in the 2nd house. So that is inspiration, ideas, the new vision, the new way of looking at things in the area where you create the sort of life that you want. And then when we have Mercury in the 5th house, which is creative, it's also relational. So for some of you, this is about inspiration and connection to the right love, I think, that is going to connect with your personal values, and you become like a power couple kind of energy. So for some of you, it might be about that. But this guide is very focused on how you speak, the messages that you bring, how they align with you creating and manifesting the life you want, but also how this transforms your relationships to align with it. So it feels very personal. It feels to me like there's a vocational energy to what they are bringing you, but it has a very personal, what kind of life do you want? What kind of relationships do you want sort of energy? So let's see here what category of guide we're talking about. Wow, I kind of thought it, with the Mercury thing, God or goddess. I'd almost say whatever God or goddess we get when we actually use a deck, that we actually add in Mercury as well. So, like the character or God that could be Mercury, because I do think there's something about communication here. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to toss a coin that is a yes/no coin, and I'm going to try and work out whether it's a god or goddess. So the first thing I'm going to ask is it a god? No. Okay, so we're looking at a goddess. So I'm going to get us a goddess deck, and we're going to get an idea of the energy. Now, bear in mind, it may not be the goddess. You might be in a different sort of belief structure, a different sort of spirituality. Look for the one then that you align with that is closest. But this is a divine feminine energy. But as I say, very mercurial, but it might be one of the reasons why a relationship and how you connect your home life and what you want to speak to your values. Maybe that's why the new vision being creative fits with a goddess. So I'll just get the goddess deck. Okay, and we're going to shuffle and we're going to ask the closest goddess to your, and it could be the literal goddess that is in your spirit team and is the main spirit guide at the moment, or the closest one in terms of nature to your goddess spirit guide at the moment, pile one. Oh, wow. Ixchel, release. This is why we've got the Pluto energy. Something very transformative here. So I'm actually going to go to the book just to get a little bit of detail for you, because I think the detail could be important to know. This is a jaguar goddess of ancient Maya culture. So as I say, if you don't have a sort of connection or don't feel a sort of link to the Mayan race and that kind of thing, that's fine. Just think about the energies of this and other goddesses that might fit, but this is the closest fit. So this is a very change-oriented energy. So I think that's where the Uranus energy is coming from, the new vision energy and so forth. She's the goddess of midwifery, fertility, earth, rain, and the sacred sweat bath. She had a cult that was widespread. Very connected to the sweat bath. So for some of you, she might be coming forward to show you a particular type of practice that could help with this. The sort of sweat lodges, shamanic journeying, that kind of thing might be helpful for you to get the new vision and to connect to her as a messenger. Yeah, very much about the renewal of the earth. For some of you, this might be an environmental sort of energy. This could be around some sort of causal vision around the environment. It says, call upon the releasing powers of Ixchel when you are ready to let something go. So you have to let something go to bring the new in. So this may be the way to work that out is what would you want to do? How would you speak your truth? What would you transform or let go around relationships to get the outcome that is more connected to the life you want and your personal values? It can be excess weight, a bad habit, a disease, old patterns. It's a powerful discharging force. So there's something here about releasing the old so the new can come in and so that the message can come in. But she's also bringing this message, let go, transform something. And I would say primarily around relationships, leading to how you can then express yourself better to create the life that you want. So I would say this is all about change. So this is a guide that's coming forward for that. Now, you may have her as a main guide all the time. If she was like a main guide or a similar energy as a main guide for you, then your life in general will be highly transformative. So for you, astrologically, Uranus would be very important. Pluto would be very important. So we've got Uranus and Pluto there, so that makes sense. The Mercury is the messenger, the connection. You may be a change agent in general, but I think she's coming forward saying that there is some relationship energy, I think, and how you communicated what you want and what you would want that to be in your life, that is now giving an opportunity to be released so the new vision can come in. So that's what we're now going to explore with the tarot. So the tarot I feel drawn to use this is the Mystic Maiden's Love Tarot because it is all feminine, and this is a divine goddess who is your guide for the moment in all of this, or perhaps your main guide full stop. And it's called the Mystic Maiden's Love Tarot, and I do think there's something here about relationship and love, so that sort of makes sense to use that as well. So what we're going to ask the tarot firstly is to describe a little bit more about the energy of this goddess, particularly if it's not Ixchel, but it's something similar to that, so that you get a sense of the energy of your guide. Because as I say, it could be some other goddess that is like that, and it's the best approximation. Then we're going to ask why. Why is Ixchel or a similar goddess with you now? And then what is the key message? So we'll just get it all together to see a little bit more about your guide and their energy towards you. So a bit more about them. So this is a description of them and their energy. 8 of Cups, Ace of Wands. Oh, this is, it's already just repeating what we just talked about. 4 of Swords reversed, 2 of Swords, 5 of Cups. This is a very inspirational energy. So Ixchel, to the extent, if it could be literally her, I think it's why I got the sense that Mercury is also important. I feel almost as though in your pantheon is also Mercury, because I feel that there is a 2-step process here, and we are at the beginning process to clear the energy to bring the new vision in. I think that they work in harmony, to be honest. So I think you've got a couple, so an Ixchel type energy, a Mercury type of energy, or Hermes type of energy, whatever particular nomenclature you like around sort of that kind of pantheon. So this is saying that the energy here, the nature of this guide is to help you release things that are not working, to let go emotionally so that new inspiration, new love, new creativity, all of that can come in. It is definitely here to make you come out of a period of possibly sort of hiding yourself away, not speaking your truth, putting other people's thoughts and feelings first, whatever it might be, and feeling like you can't make decisions. It's saying the first decision you make is to release what isn't working so then you can come in. You can't even get to the point of making a decision till you've done that. And she's about healing that energy as well too. It's understanding that you can get stuck. So I think she may be your main guide. It may be that she is doing that because part of what you're meant to do with your creativity and your message is help others with that. If that's the case, then she would be a strong guide for you throughout your whole life. But if that's not what you want to do, if your message, your creativity or whatever is something else, or if this is really about finding a better relationship, she may be with you or prime right now to release that, to bring that through. And then as I say, I feel like Mercury, Hermes, that kind of energy is kind of working in tandem here and is then bringing that through. But that's her role. Her role, this guide, is to clear old old disappointments to allow for new energy to come through. And it's not a shy guide. It's not shy and coming forward, and it doesn't want you to be shy and coming forward. It's the sort of coming out guide, really. So in whatever that means to you, that you are meant to sort of use this energy to express yourself as well as clear energy for you, and not worry that you don't have to have all the answers right now. You just have to clear the old and bring in the new and explore it. I do think for some of you, that energy, as I'm saying, like I felt very much that this new vision in the explore for pile 2, there might be something similar there. If you feel it, go to it. Don't try and force it if you don't feel it. Okay, so let's see, why is this guide with you now or stepping forward now? And as I say, it could be because they're always there, and they're always the main one, but it might be sort of something more specific for right now. Page of Cups reversed, Empress reversed, okay. Six of Wands, Page of Wands reversed, Justice, okay. So I think for most of you, this energy is with you for one of two reasons. One reason is that you have maybe a broken heart, or you're not really sure what you want emotionally, with the Page of Wands reversed and the Page of Cups reversed. There's a sort of like, there's a very basic thing where this could be about redefining what you want emotionally, and part of that is letting go what you don't want. This guide wants you to win. This guide wants you to be recognised, and particularly recognised for how you could communicate what you want. That's very powerful here. This guide also wants justice. So they may feel that there is something or someone that has broken your heart, not been honest with you, something like that, that they want to help you clear out, to bring justice and free you. There's certainly a sense that the energy around you at the moment, whether it's from a broken heart relationship or whether it's from not getting the recognition you deserve, is partly because the divine feminine energy has been suppressed. Your creative energy has been suppressed. So they want to open this up. I do think for some of you, as I say, this will be about relationship and love, but I think for a lot of you, this is a highly creative group. And this is a goddess that is with you to clear away disappointments where other creative things have not quite worked or where they haven't been recognized, because when you reclaim that, you're likely to get recognition, you're likely to get a contract. This is an important message that's meant to come through. So I definitely think for some of you, this is coming through on that level. And interestingly, I feel that could make this goddess one of your main guides, full stop. If you relate to that, this could be a guide that is always with you to keep things new, interesting and forward thinking around creativity, and to cheer you on if something doesn't quite hit, because most creative people will say that some of their work really takes off, other things don't, and it's a little bit hard to predict. I think that Ixchel here, or an energy like that, is saying something really good's coming in, but we've got to clear the decks so that we can move forward. Okay, so what is their key message for you? What is Ixchel's key message for you? King of Swords reversed, High Priestess reversed, Hermit, Emperor reversed. Okay, there's definitely something here about patriarchy versus matriarchy with the Empress reversed, and now we have the Emperor reversed. Again, I think it could be one of two things. If you are feeling, yes, this makes sense because I've been in a relationship that didn't work, and this is not about gender, but like when you've got the Empress reverse and the Emperor reverse, it could be that the message is, yes, it's time to clear out a relationship that was not going to work. Neither party, in whatever way or whatever configuration of preference, gender identity or whatever, was really going to mesh. And it wasn't actually helping either. But if that's the case, I think that the other party potentially was not being honest about it. So part of this is to bring this up to the surface, to make it clear, because you've withdrawn within yourself. It's shown this, and you're not meant to do that. You're meant to be out in the world and you're meant to find love. If it's not about love and it's about creativity, then there may have been something very unjust that's happened, or that could happen if you don't come out and claim what is yours and you aren't really realistic about that. You might be a little bit, I'm waiting to be validated, I'm waiting to be chosen, but it might be, the powers that be are not going to see what you're doing because it's so new. So you've got to start to transform and come out and do more yourself. Either way, the message is that the old order is not going to work. The old way of doing things, the old structure and so forth, it just doesn't align either relationship-wise or career-wise for you. But you can you can be successful if you come out of the shadows, if you actually start to speak your truth. This is why also Hermes or Mercury is going to be really important to you. Okay, so we thought we'd also ask your guide, firstly, what spiritual gifts they are highlighting that you have or are bringing you, what shadow questions they think you should ask to really get the best out of their support, and then what general advice you would have. So firstly, a couple of spiritual gifts. As I say, they're either celebrating that you have or they're suggesting that you look into and develop because they're there and they will help you. Clairvoyance. You're being called to explore what you see in your mind's eye, new vision. So there's definitely something here. This guide is saying you do have clairvoyance. You can sort of see the future. You can see things on a sort of more future-oriented level than most people. You are a visionary. Own that and believe that. And shamanism. You're being called to explore working as a spiritual teacher and healer. And I do feel like there was something shamanic about that, the energy of the release there and so forth. So certainly you could explore shamanic journey if you haven't already done it, just what the shamanic sort of traditions are about. That kind of thing could be helpful, or it could be something that you could do yourself as part of your voice and telling your story and so forth. So Ixchel is asking you to go deep, understand yourself with shamanism to release what you need to release, but then take your vision forward. She says that there are maybe a couple of questions that could be helpful to ask, particularly I would say in the shamanic sort of side of it when you're trying to clear the energies. She's helping you clear so that you can go forward with more confidence. The first shadow question to ask is, what role does shame play in my life and where does it come from? So that's interesting with the fact that we had justice upright. I think she would be saying you should not be ashamed of something. If somebody has told you you haven't done something correctly or it's not good enough or you behave badly in a relationship, there's some gaslighting going on. And this may go back even to childhood or whatever. So it's worth understanding that. Don't be gaslit. Understand where you've maybe been too harsh on yourself. Another shadow question to ask is, what are my deepest fears and where do they stem from? So what's made you withdraw a bit, whether it's in love or in pursuing your vision, your communication, your creativity, whatever it is. They're probably connected. There's probably something where you were not recognised. And with the Six of Wands here, she wants to say you are going to be recognised in a good way. So own that. And then what advice, getting advice from the Enchanted Forest here, would she give around this? Exactly as you are. The one who is always dissatisfied with the present moment will never have a better future. Give yourself permission to feel content right here, right now. I think that she's saying once you've done the release, because you would need to do the release first, but then it's like be confident in yourself so the messages come through so that you understand yourself. I also feel there's a secondary message there. I feel for you, you've got quite a broad spirit team. I think you have a Ixchel or a goddess like her. I think you have Mercury or Hermes. I also think you have a dragon energy around you. So dragon energies are very protective of your material safety and that kind of thing. And remember that you had Uranus in the second house. So this is giving you a protective energy while you create the type of life that you would want to create. Okay, so let's see what she would also say. Where are you now spiritually in terms of archetypes, and where is your potential when you take on her advice and guidance? So right now she would describe you as the dark muse, creativity tinged with loss. Okay, now that's interesting. Have you been a muse to someone else, but you're truly the artist? Have you been drawn into romantic situations where you were more like a muse, which is a very vampiric sort of energy? Do you use that sort of thing for creativity, but you need to also know how to release it? There's an interesting question there. This is very creative, but it does have a relationship type of energy to it. Whereas if you take her advice, where does she see you then as a spiritual archetype? The crystal guardian, working with crystals and their energy. So that's interesting again with the dragon energy here. This is, I think she's trying to say this is a way, this is what will help you clear the energy. And you will learn more about that if you haven't already. So it's also another sort of spiritual thing on top of shamanism and clairvoyance. Something working with crystals, working with that kind of energy is important. You can start to manifest better, to clear better, to understand your connection to the natural world between that and your vision as a crystal guardian. But at the moment, it's a little bit more, in the relationship area, creative area, vampiric sort of energy. So this is more grounded. I think that's what she's trying to talk about. When you clear this energy, you'll be more grounded to move forward. Okay, what stars would she send to guide you? Neptune, knowing that your vision, your creativity, your clairvoyance, all of these things, you are very psychic, understanding you are psychic. This is not, you don't need other people's stuff. You could be amused to somebody else because you're psychic, but you can also use that energy for yourself. The 7th house, for some of you, this is about relationships. It is about how you relate better to people in a way that is more able to clear the negative and bring in the positive. And the 8th house, it's, for a lot of you, there is a very strong sort of sensual energy to this. It's very intense. It could get a bit obsessive. The Plutonian energy we saw, this is particularly around relationships. If this is about relationships, you have very intense relationships. That's why we've got the dark muse. You can ground and clear that energy really well, and you can take the messages, and it could be an amazing thing creatively for you. But you need to understand that you're very psychic, so you absorb a lot of energy. You need to work out how to work with that, I think, is what she's saying. So that's her message to you, which is helping you clear the energy to bring the new vision in and understanding the dynamics of how you work with people, relationships, and creativity. When you pass on, hopefully many, many years from now, you will probably be a guide for others as well. So I thought it would be just kind of fun to get a god or goddess or mythical creature to give an idea of the type of energy you might have or the type of messages you might bring to someone else. So for you, we have Kronos. Wow. Okay, so this is a legacy. You are helping people with a legacy and with almost the structure of the universe. I mean, Kronos is about that, connected with Capricorn, so you would very much be helping others in the material form. So that's interesting that the guidance that you're getting at the moment is around your communication and your relationships, but it's also about the 2nd house, which is creating the life that we want in terms of status, privilege, and so forth. I think you would be potentially a guide to others in how they can materialize their creativity, materialize their ambition, that kind of thing. Also, you would probably be a guide for leaders or for the changing energy of the new vision coming in, because Kronos, of course, eventually had to give way to Zeus. So you may help guide people who've created a legacy to be able to pass on that legacy. So, but that's very interesting, because if your main guide at the moment is helping you to understand your creativity and how to release the old to bring in the new, that's pretty much what Kronos is all about. It's understanding how to release the old in a good way rather than trying to hold on to something that isn't going to last anymore. So very powerful energy for you. You've got like a major god here that is like your energy later on, and you've got a major goddess as your main guide at the moment with a bit of a pantheon around it. I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Explore, which says a soul adventurer calls you, explore the uncharted waters of your inner and outer world. So it is your guide, whoever your main guide is currently, or maybe for your whole life, depending upon how you feel about that. They want you to do something different. And it's interesting when we're looking here at what their nature is and why they might have come forward. We have with the blue dragonfly, my fear is, face the nightmare, anxiety, creative block, heaviness. I think that they are a guide that helps people break through creative blocks, relationship blocks, anywhere where there is a fear that is stopping exploration. They're kind of there to release the fear, to help you move forward and be curious, as we have here with Gemini rising. And with Gemini rising, they are talkative as. You are probably likely to, if you have any clairaudient ability, you're probably hearing from them all the time. It's like spiritual texts coming through a lot. They communicate, their promptings are very verbal, that kind of communication. They might speak to you through song lyrics that you hear when you walk through a shopping mall or something like that. There's something very much around that for them. They like to speak and they want to see that, and they want you to be curious. They're curious about you. They want you to be curious. They want you to see curiosity as a more powerful force than fear. They are saying that your fear may have come, and they're drawn to people whose fears may have come here with Saturn in the 8th house through crisis situations where there was major transformation. So they may particularly come forward if you have just gone through something where you've gone through a crisis, and that's the thing that makes you kind of shut down. I'm not exploring anything. I'm looking after Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm just being kind of like looking after the basics. Don't ask me to look at anything else. They're here to kind of make you realize how much in the longer term this can transform you, how it could actually create breakthroughs and a new world if you're open to that and you're curious. And they're very much into love. With Venus in the 12th house, serious romantic. So certainly if this is drawn forward because of a love issue, they're definitely wanting you to believe in that again, that if something didn't work or something was difficult or too restrictive, it doesn't mean you couldn't. You need to be curious and open and explore relationships rather than being afraid. For some of you, this might be because, and we'll see if the Tower card comes up with tarot, you've hit a Tower type of relationship. Now, when I talk about a Tower relationship, I'm talking about the one that sort of strikes you so much and usually strikes the other person. Like normally when I've seen that come up, it's pretty reciprocal, and it's sort of like your kind of soulmate, divine counterpart type of thing. And I often say the only force in the universe that's stronger than love is fear when it comes to romantic love, which is like a Tower energy. So this could be a guide that's coming forward to make you move past the fear and explore and be curious and see what happens. It could be about that, but it might also just be about anything in life, a new job, a new creative expression, whatever it might be. But I think they're there to deal with you and help you when you felt you've been in crisis, to remain curious, open, and believing that the best could happen. It's possible for some of you with Saturn in the 8th house that you have a role in some way around how you structure and move through change, through crisis, through depth, intense feelings, intense relationships, intense jobs. So if this is a guide that is your main guide for all your life, it may be because they need to help you not become calcified or stopped by the energy that you more naturally deal with. So it sort of depends whether they've just come forward at the moment or whether they are your main guide full stop. But let's get a sense about the category of guide we're talking about here. Okay. A mythical creature. You have a mythical creature. All right. So I'm going to use a deck that is about mythical creatures to find the nearest approximation. But if you feel like, yeah, that makes perfect sense, it may be exactly the mythical creature, but otherwise it's an approximation of a mythical creature around you. So this isn't like, your main guide at the moment is not like an ancestor that's come back or a past loved one. You do have a mythical creature as a guide. The question now is, what is that mythical creature, or what is the closest approximation? So we get, the phantom cat. It's about vision. When one door closes, another opens, but often we look at closed doors and do not see open ones. So this is, when it's closed there, we're not seeing, we've got to be curious. Phantom cat. A cat to me is definitely that sense of being flexible, has 9 lives, very wise, very sovereign unto itself. So I think all of those sort of elements are there for your guide, and they want that for you as well. Now I'm just going to pause and I'm going to get what I think is the best approximation deck for this. And interestingly, what I'm getting really strongly, and it'll be a bit weird how it's laid out because of the way it is, but I feel like I really want to go to the cat energy, so I'm going to get the fantasy feline deck for this. Okay, so as I said, I've got the fantasy feline deck. This has a different orientation. It's sort of horizontal rather than vertical, so it'll impact the number of cards I use for each aspect of this that I'm looking at a little bit, just for space, but otherwise no other particular distinction. But remember, this is a high order feline energy. This is not just a cat from down the street. This is a high order feline energy around you. It is asking you to have this vision, this flexibility, and this belief in the 9 lives and all that kind of thing. So we're first of all going to get a little bit more of a description around their energy. We're going to ask why they're with you now, and then we're going to ask what their message is for you. So a little bit more to describe the Phantom Cat guide. We have the Tower reversed. There you go, right from the beginning. They're here to actually help one restructure, move forward from change, from events that are a difficulty. 9 of Cups, and reclaim the dream. 7 of Pentacles, find the growth opportunity. 7 of Wands, find the bravery. Actually, I think I will be able to do the same number as I'm doing in others, and find the strength. Oh, how beautiful. Strength is the end. Yeah, it's a very strong energy. So they're very strong. They're bringing strength to you. They're bringing flexibility. But a lot of their nature is about the vision that comes after change and controlling and rebuilding after change. The Tower reverse can mean a number of things. It can mean avoiding a major change and making it incremental. It can also be the rebuilding after a change. I think for this energy, the Phantom Cat is here for you to rebuild after and to make the building of what you do. What they try and do is get you to move past the fear of something to the dream. You know, be curious, be a romantic, be whatever it is, whether it's about love or something else. Just believe in the dream, because there is a capacity now to rebuild something that will work for you, something that will grow, and they are about growth. They're also a little bit about patience, which is interesting. And if you think about it, when you're looking at exploration and curiosity, it is about taking the time. Someone who's curious and is exploring takes the time. They don't just jump and make a decision. I suddenly got a flash of something like a friend of mine used to say, I'm really bad at this because I'm not very patient. So to give you an example, I'm the sort of person, if I decide I need a new washing machine, I'll just go out, I'll find the first one that looks okay and buy it. And I had this friend that went, but don't you want to go and look in the other stores and compare prices? And nah, because I'm really impatient. But she was probably the smarter of the two of us and all that. And I think that the Phantom Cat energy here is saying to you, give yourself time, allow something to grow. The dream can grow if you give it time. And if you have the courage to do it, get past your fear. You are stronger than you think. And this energy has gone through that. This energy has followed a vision through. And it's really interesting with this very strong feline thing with curiosity, because I think that the Phantom Cat is saying curiosity is not going to kill this cat. Curiosity is going to help this cat grow and build. You're kind of past the worst, or you're the sort of person who's come in to deal with major change and to know how to rebuild and bring new belief in. And so you've got to always move past your own fear, and that energy is here with you. So why specifically now are they with you? And get a sense about, is this really who you are full stop, or is it just something that's going on at the moment? Ace of Wands reversed. Queen of Wands reversed. Okay, something's happened, or they feel that you're underestimating yourself. 6 of Wands, they want you to be recognised. The Ace of Cups reversed. The Magician, okay, reversed. Okay, they're here right now. At the least intense thing of this, they believe in you more than you believe in yourself. They feel like you've either been gaslit a bit or that you're not recognising all your skills. And so they feel that you're not following up the blessing of an Ace of Wands or an Ace of Cups, a new relationship, a new creative thing, something like that. They're here partly because right now there's something jamming the frequency for you truly understanding your potential, who you are, and or what's happened. And they really think that you should be more self-confident and go after what you love and want, and that you should be recognised. So for some, this is because there's just been a relationship or a creative project or whatever that has stalled or not been seen fairly. And they want you to move past that and to see that you have all this potential that you can still uncover, because you deserve to get the recognition. Or if it's around love, that may have been not the right one, but you can rebuild your vision. Don't let it make you give up on love. Don't lose the romanticism just because of one person who maybe wasn't trustworthy or something like that. But they're here at the moment around that. If this is a longer term connection you have with the Phantom Cat, it may be because they know that you work in, or your vocation, your spirit path is leading you to a lot of people who gaslight and who are not open to the new. And this is about keeping on reminding you about how you have the ability to move through this and how you can help other people move through it, and how to get people to sort of realize what they want rather than suppress what they want. So it just depends. For some of you, this may be a lifelong guide because you're here to help others with this as well as for yourself, and you become an example of it. But otherwise, this is something that maybe didn't work out. Don't believe the naysayers. Don't believe the critics. Don't believe the haters. None of them are right. The Phantom Cat's here to tell you, just be curious and explore. You are meant to be recognised and successful. So what is their key message right now for you? Seven of Cups reversed. Time to get real. Don't wallow. Don't wallow. Just sort of like move forward. Four of Pentacles. You already have a good foundation for whatever this is. Love, romance, creativity, career. Ace of Pentacles. And there's a new opportunity that is wanting to come in. So you have to be ready for it. And Ace of Swords reversed. You've got all aces. What this is saying to you, what they're saying right now, like the idea's about to come through. If you work out what you really want to create and what you care about, relationship-wise, career-wise, whatever it is, all the aces, all the new beginnings, this is why we're getting so much exploration. We got all four aces. They are blessings even when they're reversed. The Phantom Cat wants you to know that there's a new beginning on all elements in your life, but you're first of all going to see it on some material level. So it's going to be, a new job, you meet a new person, a new friend, something that's material, but within it is a new idea, a new heart connection, a new passion. Know that you've got the foundation you need and know that it's real, because there might be a bit of self-doubt operating here. So this is why the Phantom Cat's here. They really want you to sort of see this great opportunity is coming in. You've got to just move past the fear and explore and be curious, because there's so much potential coming in. So let's see what they think could help you. So firstly, let's get a couple of spiritual gifts that they either are bringing to you if they think it will help, or they think that you have already, either consciously or not, that can help you with this message. So we have psychocartography. You're being called to explore the connection to places through the land. Now that's interesting, because the one ace there that's upright, is the Ace of Pentacles. So this may be for some of you. Psychocartography, also astrocartography. You can get, there are some astrologers that will have a look at place, a location, and what that does for you astrologically with your chart. There might be something about a new location, a new opportunity somewhere else, moving in some way, or a new job, a new organisation, but there's something to do with place around this that they want you to know. There is a place where almost the ground is at its most fertile for you to explore and grow. And shamanism, that's interesting. That came up for another one. So going within doesn't surprise me. Even though it's a mythical creature, it's an animal energy, so that makes sense with shamanism, particularly going to the lower world, knowing who you truly are. That also helps you with your fear. It also helps you sort of break through any sort of boundaries, clear out what isn't working so that you can move forward. So doing shamanic journeying, exploring that, you could have, be a shaman or have the ability to do that if you wanted to, but there's something in that space. I think there's something about a journey though. A physical journey, you put those two things together. A physical journey becomes a creative journey, a relationship journey, a spiritual journey. There's something about exploring place, and whether that's literally in the world or whether it's in the liminal space or whether it's a bit of both, there's something in that space for you to look at. So we always have to look at shadow as well. Guides ask us to look at shadow. So let's see a couple of shadow questions that the Phantom Cat feels, or, whatever feline type guide you have that is bringing you the message. What sort of questions would the Phantom Cat ask you to ask? What do I feel guilty about? Why do I feel this way? So someone may have gaslit you a bit, or you may feel that you are leaving something behind just after it all fell apart and you're going off on this new adventure. But if that's the case, why do you feel guilty? Like, you're meant to sort of move forward. What does that mean? Do you take on responsibilities that aren't yours, that keep you stuck? What stops you in terms of feeling guilty from going after the new? And we have, what are the things I'm in denial about? Why do I dismiss these things? So what don't you think you could have? Where is your fee sitting? It's sitting in denial. Denial about the new, denial about the opportunity, denial about your skills. And Phantom Cat is telling you you're ready for all of this. You shouldn't be in denial about that, but why? And is this somehow connected also to the guilt? If you feel guilty about, moving out of home to pursue a career, do you deny the career rather than do it, for instance? That kind of energy. Okay. What we also want to get is a message for you from the Enchanted Forest that the Phantom Cat is bringing you. Trust your feelings. You are unique. Your destiny is waiting for you to write your story and pave your own path. Follow your heart. Don't let others dictate who you should be. There is something here about others controlling your view about what you should or shouldn't do, who you could or couldn't be. Phantom Cat wants you to explore and see who you really are rather than just taking their word for it. So that's important. And what we want Phantom Cat to also tell us is where you are right now as a spiritual archetype and where she thinks you could be if you move through her advice here. So where right now spiritually? The she-devil. Oh, she thinks that you've got some real passion and spice and interest in you. I think she just wants you to kind of go for it. But I think you kind of are holding yourself back. But she's saying don't, like this isn't bad. This isn't shadow. It's interesting it came with feeling guilty. It's like I think she feels that you creating this new thing, going after it, being curious, exploring, all of those sort of things, she wants you to kind of embrace that. And then what can you become as a result of that? But others might have told you, might have put you down for this. So don't, she's not wanting you to agree with that if that's the case. What you could become, the moon priestess, cycles of the moon, feminine energy, getting really in alignment with who you are, your spiritual abilities, your understanding, all that kind of thing. Really watch the cycles of the moon, actually. It could show sort of particular times that are good for the growth patterns and so forth that are inherent in all those aces coming out. Okay, so let's also have a look at what stars can guide you with her advice at this point. I keep saying her, it doesn't have to be a her actually, but I feel like it's a feminine energy. Taurus. Yeah, this is about you creating the life that you want. There's something very material. It's also why it's the Ace of Pentacles. Like, what is the life that you want? Claim the life that you want. If you want a life that is, you're well known, you've got status in society, you've got a really nicely appointed house in a nice location, own it. There's nothing wrong with wanting that. People might have told you it's not spiritual or whatever, but that's not true. Phantom Cat wants you to explore all that you could be. Fire, and to pick up the she-devil, to really be creative, really be curious, really be passionate about what you're doing. And Trine, she says it's going to be easier than you think. You're going to find more harmony than you think when you do that. So she just wants you to explore, have a bit of fun. Find what really lights your fire. That's what this is all about. This is why she's with you. And if it is she's always with you, then it's because you have this job or this vocation where you're always dealing with really heavy stuff and having to clear the energy. So she's always there to help you do that. But I think for many of you, she might just have stood forward as your main guide at the moment to help you release something to see, because there's something really wonderful that's meant to begin for you. Okay, so that's her advice for you. What I thought I'd finish up with, as I said in the introduction, is have a bit of fun and say, many, many years from now, I hope, when you have passed on, you will probably be a guide for others before, your next incarnation or whatever. So I just want to get a mythological character that is like what your guidance would be, the area of your guidance, the energy of your guidance. So this is a little bit of a fun. This is like the pay it forward. If you've had the guidance of Phantom Cat and others, what guidance would you provide to others in between lives? And we have Agrion. And I don't know who Agrion is, so I'm going to pause to get the details. Okay. Agrion is a bit like Ceres. So keeping the home fires burning, the hearth and home. I think that you would be helping people around the very Taurian sort of energy, the life, the hearth, the home, what you would be dedicated to, the world, the environment, that kind of thing. So Agrion represents labour, its fruits and its seeds. So what you get from the work that you do. Because if you do this exploration and you grow all those seeds that we had with all those aces, you've learned how to do that. So you can help others to grow their particular potentials and so forth. It's a fertility god. They don't give freely. Some fruits must be sacrificed and offered back to the earth. So I think you will show what needs to be put in to something as well as what can be gained from it. If you are then encountering someone, you're telling them, and you will be showing them there's much work to do, but the benefits of hard work and dedication. So you do this, you explore, you follow your passion, you build and grow, you help with change, you do all of those things. You're later on going to help other people manifest their desires as well. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to celebrate, which said the energy of excitement is in the air, announcements, connections, celebrations bring unity and joy, all of which is very, very positive. But it's interesting, the energy to go along with this sort of message of the guide involved, because one of the things to describe is facing Saturn, lessons from the universe, withdrawal, discipline, hard work. I feel Saturn or Kronos could be potentially one of your guides. So it could be that is going to be also shown by other parts of our exploration. But otherwise, I think it could be a secondary guide here. Or you could be at a time when you're in your Saturn return. So if you're sort of like 28 to 30 or 58 to 60 or even 88 to 90 or so, you could be at that stage where Saturn returns to its natal position in your chart, and it's kind of a cycle of growth and closing out and maturity and choice. Any of those things could be the case with facing Saturn, but I feel like there's a kind of this energy wants you to really step up. This is an energy that comes in to give great responsibility, because when we look at the way that it's described astrologically, as well as Saturn here, we have Mars, Neptune, and Uranus. So Uranus is about great change, and there's always a tension between Saturn, which is sort of that which is structured, and Uranus, that which is change. But this is in the 12th house, and Mars is also in the 12th house. So we've got a kind of a change energy that's behind the scenes and potentially a little bit avoidant, as this says, potentially a little bit kind of hidden. But the spiritual guidance here, Neptune in the 11th house, love for humanity, wanting to sort of do something that is bigger. So I feel like this is a guide that comes in for those who have a bigger purpose. And maybe there's a sense you're celebrating, you've achieved something, but maybe you're a little bit too self-effacing around it, or maybe you've been so far behind the scenes that you celebrate and your contribution is not seen as much as others. Or it might be that the celebration of achieving something, you're now going to be asked to step up and do something of be much more visible, much more active, and like you've achieved something, but it's even bigger. This is a serious spirit guide energy. This is a kind of stoic, maybe, certainly very morally and spiritually idealistic, but very much about do the work and don't avoid it, and don't be too self-effacing. There's that kind of energy around this because there's bigger work to be done. I think it's a guide. If it's your main guide in your whole life, you are meant to do a lot of change and have a lot of power and a lot of influence, and it comes from a very good place, but you may sometimes have to be more in the public eye than you want to be, I would say. If it's something right now, it's just simply right now. So it could be, you celebrate graduating, getting, your doctorate or something like that, and you've gone up that level, you're facing that kind of Saturn energy, and it's now time, instead of just doing all the behind the scenes research, to actually come out and apply it, and not to sort of feel, how do I even begin that career or that vocation? So it depends on whether we're looking at long-term or in terms of the guide, or whether it's of the moment. We'll explore that a bit more, but let's see what kind of category of guide we're talking about here. Okay. Wow, past celebrity or artist. Okay. So the reason I added that one in is that I read for quite a few people who feel connections to celebrities. A lot of mediums connect to celebrities or artists. So the idea here is almost an energy of being amused. Now, this, I would say, is a pretty serious celebrity or artist with all of this, but it may be somebody who wants you to bring your ideas and what you do out into the world more. Like, it's time to actually be seen, to be a celebrity, to be an artist, for it to be about you as much as it is about the love for humanity or whatever. What we're going to do is we're going to use a deck that is about musicians. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that it is a musical guide. It doesn't necessarily mean it is this one. If you've always felt when we draw out a musician here that you have a connection, you love the work of this musician or whatever, that's fine. And, for some of them, we're going to have ones that are not passed on yet. So it'll be something that is like that energy. And for some, it will be those who have passed on. So, you need to use a little bit of discernment here. So if we came out with a celebrity that is, or a musician that's alive, it might be sort of one that is in a similar genre or a similar sort of energy, but has passed on. I mean, it is possible. Now, the other thing I would say, and I wouldn't call myself an expert on this, but it is possible that someone could be a guide for you in the astral plane and still be alive. I work with, and read for someone who in fact supports the souls of the living. So that's possible as well too. So if I do bring out here a musician and you feel a connection and they're still in this mortal coil, they might be a guide for you, but in the astral level. So be as broad as you can with this. But I think there was a kind of intent that if this was the case, that this was for bringing people out to show their work or their creativity or whatever it was more into the world to be celebrated more. So it's interesting, we got celebrity when we got celebrate. So, but it's a very serious energy. So let's see what the closest musician energy might be to your guide here. Pile 3. Wow, Madonna. So Madonna is still alive. She's very into spiritual and occult stuff, so I guess it's possible that, you could literally be connecting with her if you feel that. But otherwise, it could be some sort of celebrated energy that is similar to her. So the sort of ones I would think of in music would be she's very, very, very chameleon-like. So people like David Bowie, that kind of energy. Very strong sort of feminine energy, very... kind of grounded originally in traditional sort of spirituality, but very much the rebel. So, I mean, I think just go with the energy of it. It's not, as I say, but if you feel that you have a psychic connection with her, then maybe it's saying that you do. But I would be seeing the Madonna energy here more about the groundbreaking, changing chameleon energy, and also becoming a real star, being really seen for yourself. Like not being in a group, but being the lead singer, that kind of energy. There's something like that, and it's stepping up and being ready for that, but also doing it with a cause that cares about humanity. So interesting, as I say, it doesn't have to be literally Madonna, but we had past celebrity or artist here, but like because of the deck I'm using, it's not necessarily past. So I would gear more towards someone who is passed on, that is in a celebrity or an artist. It doesn't have to be a musician, but one who has maybe a kind of a similar energy to Madonna around being the rebel, being the iconoclast, being the chameleon. That's what I would go with around the intent of this reading, but I don't want to close out that if any of you feel that you have that kind of psychic connection with her, by all means. So I'm going to actually use the movie tarot for this in terms of a tarot, only because it's a celebrity kind of energy. So that also broadens it. It doesn't have to be a musician. And we might get a little bit more of a fix on the energy or the type of person from that as well. So I'm just going to pause to go and get the movie tarot. Okay, so what we're going to do sort of 3 lenses with the tarot. Firstly, a little bit more about the nature of this guide. So that might help in terms of if you don't feel you're connecting to someone who's alive, it's more to connect to the right sort of energy that was a past celebrity or artist. An artist, could be anything. It could be a fashion designer, it could be a painter, it could be a writer, but somebody who was seen and known. This is about you stepping up and being seen and known for something and not avoiding the spotlight. I think this is what this is all about. So let's see a little bit more about the spirit guide. Let's look at why they're with you now, particularly if it is just now as opposed to all the time. And then we're going to see what their key message is for you. So firstly, a bit more to describe this spirit guide. 6 of Cups, 5 of Swords, Wheel of Fortune reversed, Knight of Wands, 10 of Wands reversed. Okay. First thing I get really strong is for some of you, this is someone that you probably really connected to and idolized when you were young. So, early sort of music, early writing, early movie star, whatever it might be. There's a sense of nostalgia around this person, and It's almost as though if you really thought about it, it felt like you let it go into your childhood. You haven't necessarily thought it followed you through, and yet it has. It's about maturity. So it is partly the rites of passage into maturity. And I think this was like whether it was music or whether it was writing, whatever it was something that comforted you when you felt that you weren't either able to move forward when you wanted to, like timing wasn't right for you, or when you were in bad times, when down times, it was sort of, there's something melancholic. So if I was thinking about like a similarity to Madonna, I'd be thinking about she did certain songs around her upbringing and her relationship with her father and that kind of thing. A lot of sort of pathos in those, very beautiful songs. So it's sort of that kind of energy, I think, in whatever this is. But it could be a writer, it could be an artist, it could be anything. But it is about letting go of childish things and moving to the maturity. Like there's almost a rite of passage energy to this guide. But it's also a comforting energy, and one that's meant to make you feel ready for the journey, just when you felt you didn't have the energy. So they're also a guide to re-inspire when you've sort of felt like you've gone as far as you can go. And it's interesting because we start with celebrate. So if they're here with you right now, then I think they've been with you before. If this is not a guide that's your main guide all the time, and I suspect that's the case, I think this is a guide that comes forward at particular times. And I think they were with you when you were very young, when you were maybe not seen, when you felt a bit shy, when you felt misunderstood, whatever that might be. Maybe for some of you, I'm getting, this is very, very specific, but if you moved around a lot and it was hard to find friends and all that kind of thing because you're constantly changing school, like with this energy, they were like a friend, like a, you might not even have like realized that it was sort of like connected to a past celebrity, but it's like a friend energy. So that kind of thing was there. And I think they come forward when it's time for you to like let go of things, mature and turn the wheel of fortune around for yourself. So it's coming forward at the moment because there is something that you're meant to celebrate or sort of be happy about, but it's like, then what's the next level? And not being avoidant about moving forward with that, not being shy about moving forward with that. Because it's like, I think somewhere very early in your life, maybe your voice was a bit silenced. And so this is a voice coming through to help you reawaken that. And that's what they do for people. There's something in this person's life that was originally challenging about them being seen, being respected, being heard. It may even be an artist like I'm just thinking like Vincent van Gogh. Now today seen as one of the greatest artists of all time, but when he lived, he was not recognised. So it may be something like that. It might be an energy like that around wanting you to step forward and not be shy and to be recognised. So it could be that, or they just might have struggled. They might have been different, like Elvis, at first, like shock horror, look at the way he dances sort of thing. And yet eventually he became, the king, the icon, all of that kind of thing. So I think this is an energy that wants you to understand there's something similar in your story, and you have achieved something, but you can achieve so much more, like step up, step up. That's what the energy, this is when this guide comes in. And they're meant to be kind of amused for you. I definitely think, like when I was putting that in as a category, I was thinking about almost muse energy for you. So, okay, let's see, why are they with you now? Like what reasoning is it right now that they are with you? And even if they're with you all the time, why have they stepped forward now as the main guide? Ace of Cups, Six of Coins reversed, Queen of Cups, Three of Swords, Page of Coins. Okay. All right. Firstly, they want you to know that in some emotional thing, and I think this is much more about your creativity than it is about love and things like that. I mean, it could be about love if it is stepping into that and not avoiding love anymore. So it is possible. But I think for most of you, given the nature of this energy, I think it's about, unless you feel that the past celebrity or artist was all about love, in which case it might be about stepping from there's a new love that could really be something. But there's something here where you could sort of, the next step feels like it's the beginning, but you're already very well equipped for it, and you're going to be amongst equals. So this is like you've reached a level of being recognised. It's now what you do with that. And you have to separate out from the pain of the past. You have to separate out from a sense of being a little bit behind the scenes. And you have to work out what you want materially from this. But there's some pain you need to let go of, because there's a lot of opportunity here, and you're more recognized now. But what do you want to do with that? They're there to try and get you to really almost productize what you're doing. It's like, what do you want to be seen for? What do you want to be seen for? And I do think we did see the love for humanity. There could be a connection of your heart energy now, and understanding the pain of that is the thing that you are now ready to be able to do something with. So let's see what their key message at the moment is for you. Eight of Cups, Two of Swords, Seven of Coins reversed, Two of Coins reversed. Okay, so you are meant to celebrate having achieved something, and you are seen more in some way than you possibly have been in the past. But there is something that didn't work, or you didn't get recognized for, or didn't grow, that it is time to let go of. That's part of the maturity. You need to let go of emotionally things that are not working for you. You need to make that decision. It's like you're avoiding the decision, or you're avoiding being seen, you're avoiding speaking of it. But there's something here in just making that decision without knowing what the ultimate outcome is, just making the decision to let that go, because there's something in your energy that is slowing things down more than it should. With facing Saturn will always slow things down a bit because it wants to structure things, but it doesn't have to slow it down completely. And it's saying a choice. It's a material choice you need to make that allows you to put all your energy into something, the right thing. It's almost like you're kind of balancing a couple of things at the moment, a couple of relationships, a couple of career options, a couple of artistic things. One of them you need to let go of because it's not going to grow in the way that the other will. So they're partly here to get you to focus on what do you, and it's with that avoidant thing, I think the one that you're most scared of, the one that you're most worried whether it will work, is probably the one that you should pursue. But you see what, you do you with that, you see what you feel the message is. But there's a choice. There's a choice right now to sort of step up and claim something and let it grow and let go of anything that hasn't grown. So you start to characterize and describe yourself by what grows and builds, not by what didn't. I think that's partly what this energy is trying to say to you in whichever celebrity or artist it is. Okay, so let's have a look at some spiritual gifts that they want you to think, either that you have and use, or that they're bringing to you to grow, to use, to be able to do this. Energy blockage release. You're being called to explore the ability to locate, identify, and move stagnant or stuck energies. Yeah, this is part of it. It's like facing Saturn is also working out where you've got blocked or whatever, and where you're avoidance. So this is partly, I think, why it's Madonna, as I say, beyond if anybody thinks they have a sort of psychic connection with Madonna. And as I say, that's possible. She's a lot of occult stuff in her work, so who knows. But if it's a celebrity or an artist or a writer or something like that from the past that has a similar sort of energy, she broke through a lot of tradition. She broke through a lot of boundaries and barriers. So there's something here about that for you so that you're not stuck. I think like Spirit Guide's saying to you, there's a difference between maturation with Saturn and being stuck. So, celebrate your successes and move forward, not feel like you're constrained. And we also have psychometry. You're being called to sense and read the vibrations of objects and people. Okay, so one of the things I would say to you is if you want to get a really strong connection, if you've kind of identified who you think this person is, say it was a writer. Like I would love, for instance, to have Oscar Wilde as a guide. I'm not saying he is my guide, but I would love to have that. If I was getting this reading, then I would maybe pick up the Portrait of Dorian Gray, or, some of his plays or whatever, and like just kind of hold the physical object of his creativity. So there could be something there, or if it's a singer or something, like hold a CD cover or something. I don't know, that's just an idea. But beyond that, there's something here about the sensitivity to objects. It might help you determine what things to develop and move forward with. What might also help is knowing what shadow questions you need to ask and explore in yourself. So we're just going to get a couple of shadow questions that you're spirit guide is wanting you to think about. What are the things I feel unworthy of having or experiencing? Yeah, this is the thing. You don't realize how worthy you actually are. You are ready. You are an equal to this. You're more than equal to this, actually. But for some reason, you doubt that. And you'd even probably, like I think of all of the readings here, it's the most likely one where you go, no, I don't have a celebrity. But I think you do. I think you have some celebrity or artist from the past around you, and they are trying to get you to see that you can carry on a tradition and you can take it even further, and you really do have that ability. But you really need to work out why it is that you might feel unworthy, because you're not. And how do I react to praise, and what does it reveal about my self-worth? This is a really powerful question, actually. If you are going to be for the nature of this message, because this message is about you becoming more out into the spotlight, being seen for what you do, taking your creations, your abilities and so forth forward, and becoming a celebrity, an artist or something like that. Very, very important to understand the role of praise under those circumstances, because praise, it's a wonderful thing to receive, but it's also a judgment. And it's really important to understand that when somebody praises you, if you just take that on without really considering it, then you almost become trapped by their belief, because you want to believe that was right, so anything else they said, which also means if they critique, you're going to take that on. And it may be that the praise is actually accurate and the critique isn't. And what I have often said to people, I said this a lot to people in workplaces, don't take either on without examining it. If somebody praises you, it could be very, very honest, but it may or may not be accurate. If you make that assessment, if you go, actually, yes, I believe that's a fair thing, then you have owned the power of that. It's lovely that the person did it. You know, they're a nice person who praises rather than just criticizes, but you have retained the power. If someone critiques you, is it right or isn't it? Probably 9 times out of 10, a critique's going to tell you more about the other person, but every once in a while it's going to be true. Again, if you take the critique on, if you think it's fair, you've taken the power. So I think when you are going to, this is all about guiding you into something where you're going to be more seen, more known. You're going to get a lot of praise and a lot of censure. You know, you're going to get lovers and haters, basically. So understanding how you react to that is a really good set of armor for you going forward. Okay, let's see what message from the Enchanted Forest this guide would bring you. The beginning. There's still time to adjust or start over. Feel life flowing freely through your being. All your wishes can come true in the creative potential of a new beginning. So know that this is, you're meant to celebrate and move forward. This is a good cycle that's coming in. You need to believe in that. Your dreams can come true. Really powerful. Okay, so let's ask your past celebrity or artist guide how they see you as a spiritual archetype now, and how they see you if you fully follow their guidance. So how they see you right now. The Mountain Guide, strength, perseverance and resilience. Yeah, look, you have been through some stuff. As I say, I feel this guy comes in and out, and they've been with you since you were very young, and they come in and out because they see in you the prodigy, the one who has this potential. But they also know it's a difficult road. It has been difficult, but you do have the resilience and the persistence. So they really rate you on that. Where you could develop with when you really take on the opportunity to no longer hide in the shadows, but be seen for what you do. Wow, the Dark Muse, creativity tinged with loss. Okay, so this is a very artistic thing, I have to say. But you will inspire others, and some of your stories and some of your resilience will be part of what you express yourself with. Some of the greatest writers and artists of our time and even before took pain or sadness in their lives, and then they created something that was transfiguring and helped humanity by being something that others could relate to. You're going to have that kind of effect. And again, regardless of whatever you feel, whether it's Madonna as a sort of like a living energy that you're connecting with, or whether it's just something like Madonna's music, as I said, used a lot of her sort of past pain in a very eloquent way. Like I was always very impressed with the sort of lyrics of sort of some of her earlier work I really, really loved. So You don't have to. I'm just saying that it is about that. It is about that. Modern day equivalent might be, I mean, not that Madonna isn't modern day, but like a more recent equivalent of that might be someone like Taylor Swift that people really respond to, who talks about her relationships. But I think there's something, there's quite a heft to this though. I feel like maybe John Lennon, Imagine, George Michael. There was a lot about his own personal pain. Some of his songs, around his own personal pain and learning and coming into who he was are extraordinary. So it's that kind of thing. And I'm talking about musicians here because I'm very, very driven by music and lyrics, but it could be anything, as I say. It could be a writer, or it could be a painter, it could be anything. But you're going to be a muse for others, as well as being able to use your energy and creativity, your own life, as part of your muse energy. So that's very powerful. This is very much for a creative person. If you don't feel like you're creative on that kind of level, it's probably not your reading, I would say. So, but you've probably already worked that out if that's the case. All right, so let's get some stars to guide you. Fire, your passion, your creativity, believe, be excited by what you do. Want to create. Waxing gibbous moon, adjustments, clarify your direction and intention. There's sort of something here about course correcting, because I think you're being a little bit too self-effacing. It's like, how do you take your stuff out into the world? How would you change your intention and your direction if you were taking this advice? And Gemini, how do you communicate it? And, you could have, with Gemini as the twins, you could have a couple of things. Some projects could be so personal that you keep them quite private, and others could be things that you take out into the world. You can make decisions about that. You can make choices about that. Okay, so if that's the energy of the main guide around you at the moment, or possibly on and off throughout your life, you, when you pass on, hopefully many, many, many years from now, will no doubt be a guide for others in between lives. So what I wanted to do to finish off, just as a bit of fun, was to draw a mythological creature, god, goddess, mythological creature, that might replicate the kind of guide energy you will bring to others in between. So it's just a bit of fun just to close out the reading. And for you, we get, Kathira. Now, I do not know who Kathira is, so I'm going to need to look up the book. Okay, this makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of emotional energy here and healing energy implicit in your creativity and what you do. Kathira is connected to the moon. It's inspired by Bastet, Durga and Ixchel. And so some of you, there could be a connection to pile number 1, actually, I'm going to say. Some of you, if you feel drawn to that, maybe check it out. It represents maternal protection, basic security and sustenance and belonging, and then allowing people to graduate into well-rounded individuals and parental figures themselves. So I think this is, you will help others in becoming well-rounded and confident and moving through that maturation process to be all that they're meant to be. It says to encounter Kathira is to reconcile with the spirit of your own providers and your own capacity to provide for others. So I think this is, you will help others in understanding, as I say, what this guide is doing for you, understanding who they are, how they can be all that they could be. And through doing that, provide for others. Because remember, part of the energy of your guide was around love for humanity. So the creative energy or the vocation or whatever it might be that you guide them on is also for more than just them. So it's a bigger picture issue and how people can be all that they could be. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.